I set out to become the ultimate Jiu-Jitsu black belt. After traveling 2,873 miles, we are at the final gym on our cross-country tour. This isn't just any randomly selected gym. I'll explain that later though. For now, we're staring down the final 3 opponents of our campaign, the first being a relentless purple belt named Jonathan. Jonathan will live up to the name Relentless, as you'll see in a few seconds. However, in the beginning of this round, I take the upper hand as I enter into my favorite guard of reverse de la Hiva. I force him to the ground by pushing him over as I control his feet and sweep him off his base. From there, I'm looking to expose his back or put him on his back, but he's determined to stay on his feet, and after missing a shin hook, he manages to back off and escape my grips. I'll quickly team up with the wall to almost find another entry, however he just skates by and we retreat closer to the middle. Then after 2 weeks worth of knee slicing my opponents, I get a taste of my own medicine as Jonathan dives in for an underhook and nearly passes my guard. In order to escape the pass, I create as much space as I can between our hips and eventually find my way out as I move from turtle and come up into an underhook. Jonathan denies my hug as he shoves me away. While I thought we had a good relationship, he makes it apparent that he hates me, so it's time to turn it up a gear. We begin the wrestling exchange, and while many of you are probably aware that I am basically skill locked to a low outside single leg, I have to try and convince Jonathan that I know more than I actually do. To fake it, I'll palm his head as much as humanly possible, and this will either distract him as I go for a takedown, or piss him off enough to take a bad shot. I'm really not sure what happened here. I may have accidentally slapped him as I went for a spastic Russian tie attempt, but either way, none of my tactics have worked so far, and it's time that I actually try and wrestle. After disrespecting an Olympic sport like that, I concede to guard where I belong. I'll almost hit a kiss of the dragon, but Jonathan quite literally springs out of it like all the cats from every meme ever on the internet and quickly shoots back into it with a knee cut. However, notice how he missed the underhook as I beat him to the punch and circle my arm to the inside position. As he sprawls down in half guard, removing the crossface is my first priority. After shrugging it off, keeping it off is the next thing I'm worried about, and I'll gable grip my hands around his leg while also using my left elbow to prevent the crossface. You'll then see my right foot shoot up from behind him, and it will allow me to push off the ground and elevate Jonathan into single leg X. I start to attack a knee bar, but as I go to place his foot behind my arm, he escapes by a hair. I'll then try to use it to come up instead, but he doesn't stay down no matter what I do. A little frustrated now, I make it a goal to put him on his back and try to find a submission from top. I start using de la Hiva to initiate an off balance, then tangle up his legs. However, he's able to navigate out of the guard, but almost ends up eating shit as he slips on our hardboard water. He dives back into half guard, and my priority is to block his left shoulder as this will prevent the crossface and allow me to create space and work on my attacks. As we continue to push back and forth, I find myself in sunsetter territory, and for those who have been keeping up with the cross-country trip, you know how powerful this move can be. However, after heavy fatigue and good defense, Jonathan once again skims by and he's able to ward off my special move. But after all these lackluster techniques, I finally find the opening that I've been waiting for this entire round. Jonathan also finds himself a little tired and mistakenly leaves his leg a little too close to my grips. My right leg once again shoots out from behind Jonathan's back, and I'll use this to elevate him and put him on his butt. Naively giving him many submission options, I feel as it's my only chance for me to come up, and I sit up and do an armbar. We thankfully run into a wall, and as we move away, Jonathan finally concedes to bottom position. Now if you remember the few knee slices he hit on me early in the round, it's time to get my revenge as I stuff his hooks into headquarters and drop my knee to the mat. Jonathan nearly escapes, but I swivel myself around and continue to press onto him until I inevitably score the guard pass. He proves to be a tough opponent as he keeps his escape turning every direction until I manage to slow down the pace and I'll settle into side control. While everything looked like it was going smoothly, during my transition to mount, I relieve an ounce of pressure just as I come in, and he'll capitalize on that by elevating me off of mount and standing back up once again. After putting all of my energy into putting him down and losing the pass, I'm both mentally and physically worn out. This becomes obvious as I try to sit in the X guard, but end up completely screwed as Jonathan returns the knee cut, this time passing my guard. With almost no gas left in the tank, my goal now turns from submitting Jonathan to surviving as I sit here waiting to get smashed. He'll start making things rough, coming into mount and applying a gift wrap to keep me controlled as he goes to transition to my back. To try and stop him, I jerk my back down to the mat while also closing off the space he needs to insert his hooks. To make me suffer, Jonathan will continue to drive his shoulder into my chin, eventually forcing me to give up back exposure and then finally collecting his earnings as he chair sits on my back. Gassed out as all hell, I fall back onto my S-tier jiu-jitsu move. This is a technique that has a 100% success rate, however the amount of time it takes to charge up varies. This time, completely out of energy, I just need to survive long enough to use it. Jonathan will transition around my body, going from back to mount to turtle and reclaiming his seat on my back. However, the move is finally ready to use and I activate the bell escape and get out of harm's way. So after a round of back and forth action, we finished the first match at Mat Chess. Going into the next roll, we'll be facing another purple belt, this time surpassing me by a few weight classes, so let's see if I can outspeed his strength and come on top. I'll be wrapping up the giveaway at the end of the week, so don't miss out on some awesome free jiu-jitsu gear by YJJS brand. Head to the description for more information. But with that being said, thank you guys for the continued support and I'll catch you tomorrow.